Good afternoon, and welcome to the April meeting of the Thousand Oaks Council on Aging. Commissioner Graham, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Francine, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Borge?
Here.
Commissioner Fotheringham?
Here.
Commissioner Grimm?
Here.
Commissioner Loomis?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Norkin?
Here.
Commissioner Poprock is absent. Commissioner Surden?
Here.
Commissioner Silberberg? And Commissioner Shentes. Thank you.
Now it's time for public comments, and we have a couple of speakers here, three exactly. The first one is a very good friend of ours, Susan Cashman. Susan, would you come up and tell us about the 2009 California Senior Pageant?
Thank you, Jim. Well, I've been standing here for the past few months telling you about the pageant that's going to be at the Global Senior Center, the Miss Senior Conejo Valley pageant that will be May 31st at 1:30 in the afternoon. And that is a Sunday, and it is the Sunday after Memorial Day, so it won't conflict with anybody. And oh, how you have responded. I am so excited to tell you about all the fabulous, beautiful, talented, educated women that are going to be in this pageant. We have singers, we have dancers, including a belly dancer. We have a puppeteer, a violinist. I have poets. I have just a tremendous variety. Plus, I have 5 of the past queens that have said they are going to be there, and they will be entertaining. So it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic afternoon. And we have room for a couple more if anybody is interested. You have to be 60 years of age. You have to be a citizen of the United States. And you need a talent. And the talent doesn't have to be musical. I have one lady that writes poetry, and she sent me an example, and some of it is actually funny, and some of it is very, very clever. I have an actress that's going to do a reading. So your talent it could be sewing or knitting. We had one pageant contestant that brought these incredibly gorgeous sweaters and had them modeled on stage. So everybody has a talent somewhere. But it's a great opportunity for seniors because there's not too many places where seniors can get up and strut their stuff and do their talent. And everybody has fun. Everybody supports everything. It's a very, very positive experience. So those of you that haven't joined and are thinking about it, come on. It's a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it. And those of you that don't want to get involved and be part of it, come and root your favorite one on in the audience. We can use you. The tickets are only $5, and there's usually plenty of free parking at the Global Senior Center. So keep that date in mind, May 31st at 1:30 in the afternoon at the beautiful Global Senior Center for the Miss Senior Conejo Valley pageant. Thank you and by the way, if you need to get in touch with me, my number is 818-883-8975. Looking forward to seeing you all there.
Thank you, Susan. That's going to be a hoot. I understand you have some unbiased judging as well. Our next speaker under public speakers is a realtor with the Conejo Valley Association of Realtors, Don Phillips. Don.
Thank you, James, and thanks for having me here today. I just wanted to share some information about an upcoming event that we have scheduled for April 16th in this very same room. We were able the last 2 or 3 years to put some forums on about Conejo Valley housing opportunities and some other subjects related with that. And with this very difficult economy, people not knowing what's happening next, there are still some great opportunities as well as wonderful loan programs out there. So we're going to have a panel discussion here. It's 2009 Conejo Valley Housing Opportunities. We'll have a representative from the Countrywide/B of A. We'll have the 2008 Realtor of the Year. We'll have another realtor from my committee, and that's the Equal Opportunity and Cultural Diversity Committee for CVAR. And we'll have a representative from the City of Thousand Oaks, Nellie Jassa. So I have some flyers I will leave. Again, it's Thursday evening, April 16th, here in the same room. Going to be a great discussion. We'll be also filmed on TOTV Channel 10. Just some advanced information. I don't know if you were aware last year we did a real estate fraud forum here. We're going to build on that and what's happening. There's a lot of fraud, unfortunately, in Ventura County in real estate related activities and transactions, and we will be providing additional information with representatives from the district attorney's office as well as from lenders passing information. I'm also working with the council here for potentially having a forum either at Global Center or back here sometime in the September timeframe, talking about real estate related activities and how it affects seniors. And we're really trying to pull that together because, again, there is some great information we would like to share and to get out to the community. Thank you very much.
Well, Don, do people need reservations to come to your event here?
They do not. There's no admission. It's free parking. Just be here at 7 o'clock. It will start at 7 o'clock. Probably last about an hour and a half or 2 hours, and will be filmed on Channel 10.
Cool.
All agents are working with their clients who can't be here. There will be additional showings the balance of the year on this event.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Don, are you going to have kind of, you're going to offer some listings? I mean, not general listings, but I mean, affordable housing for seniors. And is it going to be focused on seniors and what kind and what's available out there? Can you also get the city to say, well, we project some more and others? Are you going to be able to take, there's a need? And then
I think
what's
that's
available?
an excellent question, Mel. For the April 16th one, it's going to be talking about short pays and REOs, which are lender-owned properties. In other words, it's gone back to the lender or the bank.
Yeah.
Both from a real estate standpoint and from the city standpoint. The September forum, if we can pull that together, we'll talk specifically seniors issues.
Okay. On that same note, whether it's April or September, where you could be of service and say, look, we know there are some seniors who are living in two-story and they'd love to get out.
Sure.
And let's try to match up two-story with one-story. In other words, let's really make it strategic, not just say we've got a bunch of stuff out there, throw a dart at it.
No, we're going to
it's got to be constructive.
Address those issues. We're also asking for as many questions as possible from those in attendance for those types of issues, so we can respond to that on a real-time basis.
Are you going to have the sufficient publicity for it?
Yes.
The newspaper? And
it's going to be in the newspaper. It's going out to over 1,000 agents in the Conejo Valley, and it's also on the calendar for the city. Any other questions? Those are good questions, Mel. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much, Don.
Thank you, James.
And our next speaker is representing our community House of Hope, Teresa Wolf. Let me say that all again online this time. Representing our community of hope, Teresa Wolf. Teresa?
Thank you, Jim. Let me introduce myself a little bit first so that you'll know my background. I have worked in our community in the Thousand Oaks area for the last 15 years in the hospice area. I'm a nurse by background. And within the last 5 or 6 years, I saw an alarming crisis looming, and that is that we have a large amount of people that are dying alone. They're isolated, they're low income, they have no family, and there really is no place for them to go in their final month of life. And as I saw this happening, I began to really think about what could I do to make a difference in our community. And I worked in the volunteer community of hospice, and I love our community because we're so volunteer oriented. And people want to change things that are wrong to make it more right. So with this vision, I have stepped out of my last job to do this full time. And this is to establish we are a nonprofit now. We have our nonprofit status. and to establish an 8-bed home for those that are low income in the last month of their lives, and we will not be charging our residents anything. I know everybody goes like, how do you do that? So Mr. Seardon, I did bring a PowerPoint. Is it okay if we show it? Okay. Thank you. Very good. We got our nonprofit status in 2007, and we are a committee of about 35 strong. We are called Our Community House of Hope. Our little byline is a loving alternative for end-of-life care, and that's exactly what we intend to provide. Our mission is to establish a loving home for the isolated or low-income individuals needing care in their final days. We are committed to providing compassionate, dignified, quality care at no cost to our residents and their families, and we will not be charging our families anything. Let's talk about the need for just a minute. I don't want to get all sad and gloomy on this April 1st day, but I'm going to just tell you a couple of brief stories in my personal career before I go into that slide. The majority, I would say the majority of people that we're seeing in these circumstances are seniors. But there are also a fair amount of younger people, younger than 65, that are dying alone. I had one woman come in to me, and she was only 29. She had no parents, no family whatsoever. She had worked. Her parents had died young, and she had worked and supported herself, was very professional when she got end-stage liver cancer just off the bat. She came into me and sat in front of me and said, I don't know what to do. I don't have any place to die. My roommate has kicked me out because she can't take care of me, and I can't pay the rent because I can't work. The doctor says I have 6 weeks to live. And I struggled and struggled to find some place for this young woman to be. Can you imagine a 29-year-old being put in a nursing home out in Los Angeles with a bunch of 90-year-old women? It was so sad. So what we came up with was an old boyfriend's mother, and I helped her get settled into her old boyfriend's mother's living room on a couch. And she died there just a few weeks later, alone. It was so sad. And that was one of the, in that 1 year I had 6 women alone, not all of them young, but alone at the end of life. And that's why I decided I needed to step out and try to do something. The other couple that I think of off the top of my head was a senior couple, and the wife was taking care of the husband as he had pancreatic cancer, and he was probably in his 80s. And she had to just work like the dickens, to keep him at home, and she wanted to keep him at home at all costs, but then at the very end, when it got really hard, where he was bedbound, in that last month, most people are bedbound, and she was working so hard that she just couldn't do it anymore. Her health started to fail, and we had to find a place to place him. And it was not good because she didn't drive. And then she couldn't go see him in that last month of life. It was very, very much a struggle for her. And she was so sick by the time he died, and she had spent every nickel on his extra medication and so on, that she had nothing. As he died, then she got sick and was in dire circumstances, financially and being alone with they had no family, no children. And again, we had to just scramble to find some nursing home for her, and it was very, very sad. Each month, at least 50 to 80 people in our counties, and what our primary service area is Ventura County, also northwestern Los Angeles County, so taking in Calabasas, Woodland Hills, all of the Conejo, Camarillo, parts of Oxnard, over into Moorpark and Simi, and also including Malibu. So 50 to 80 people a month we are finding through the social workers and our medical hospice nursing agencies are reporting 50 to 80 a month that need placement, that don't have family, and that don't have money. 1/3 of our seniors in California are living alone without a caregiver or any, family to help them if they need a caregiver, or any finances to hire one. In 2008, we estimated that there were over 1,000 people in our Ventura County areas that were suffering at the end of life without the proper care. These numbers are obviously just going to be increasing as our baby boomers are just starting to retire. We are looking at a very, very large crisis, and it's increasing daily. Let me say a couple more things about the need. In California, we have very, very few end-of-life care homes. In the Conejo Valley, you probably well know, we only have really 2 nursing homes, and they're usually full. And they really don't like to take hospice patients because they don't get paid as much. And in the hospital arena, when you have somebody at the end of life, it's $4,000 a day in an ICU. The hospitals are hemorrhaging from this problem, and they really want these folks that are in these, and sometimes they call it feudal end-of-life care, on all the tubes and so on. And I don't think any one of us would raise our hand and say we want to die in a hospital, quite honestly. I think all of us have had that experience. But they're looking for resources, for places to place people that will be, good enough without shipping them out to Los Angeles area into these very poor nursing homes. In California, we have over 3.8 million seniors. And this number is increasing daily. Over 85-year-olds is increasing at 60% a year. We have more seniors in our state than any other state, and we have the least amount of end-of-life care facilities. Just for instance, in Florida, most hospitals have a hospice home attached to them. We don't have that here. An end-of-life care home, if you were to pay for it out of pocket, say a board and care home that would take you and keep you to the end of life, is $4,000 to $6,000 a month. 40% of these kind of homes are sitting empty right now because of the economic times. People are taking their loved ones home, but then they have to work to keep things going. And then we have the senior that's sitting alone in a home, dying alone. It's a definite crisis that we're looking at and growing in numbers daily. Looking at our goals, what are our goals? Our goal is, and our vision is, to build a replicable, hard word, 8-bed home in our community, and lead the way. Get this first one up and running as a social model, and get this first one running, and then help other communities get, hopefully we're going to be able to get a foundation rolling so that we can help others. We feel that if we as communities don't do this, no one will. I have friends in that lobby for hospice at all the highest levels, and every agency, when the question is asked, what are you going to do about this looming end-of-life care crisis, all of the top agencies have said it is not our problem. We do not have the funds for anything to rescue the problem. They're not addressing it. So as communities, if we don't address it, it's just going to become worse and worse and worse. Our immediate goal right now is to raise $250,000. We plan to start operations as soon as we raise this amount so that we can just go into a rented property. There's many board and cares sitting empty. I have one man that's ready for us to move in tomorrow and, give us a really good rent rate. We have raised up to date $54,000, and really all of these dollars, and I guard every dollar because every single one has been given from somebody with not that much money and that have a heart for what we're trying to do. And we just know we can do it in our communities. Our future goal is to raise about $5 million to build an 8-bed structure in our community somewhere. If we have one 8-bed home, it can serve 360 people a year. That's the estimate, because the length of stay in homes like this is about 8 to 12 days. It's very short. It's the last month of life. And people always kind of are surprised at that, but if you were at home and you were really ill, you would do for yourself as long as you possibly can. And then if a nursing agency comes in and says, okay, well, you're in bed now and you're on a lot of medication, we can't leave you in your house now because you're not safe. The nursing agency can't by law come in and help you. And, the Medicare hospice only provides the nurse coming in an hour here, an hour there, that kind of thing. There's no 24/7 care. That is out of your pocket. So if you can't afford to hire someone to help you, or if you don't have a family member to keep you at your home, there is a gap in care. And that's when the nursing agency will have to transfer you to some other facility. So that is really an important, thing to understand why this gap in care is happening. We also intend to make this an educational center, which means that we will have, programs where certification can be obtained for the student in social work, MFT programs, nursing programs. These kind of end-of-life care learning opportunities are very scarce as well. but are so needed in the marketplace of the medical arena. The hospitals and the nursing agencies are very much wanting this to happen. I mean, at the hospital level, you know, the people that I've talked to, they're like, can't you open on this in this house right behind us? And I'm like, if you can give us $200,000, yes, we can. They're very anxious for us to happen. They're very anxious for them to have this kind of a resource. We intend to replicate this house in other communities, as I said. Right now, in the closest house of this nature, and there's only one in all of California, it's a social model hospice, is up in Santa Barbara. They have been so kind and helpful to me, I can't even tell you. It's called the Sarah House, and they have been running since 1990. It's a very sustainable model. They're community sponsored. They are raising funds all of the time. They are actually going to be, they just had a play written for them about their hospice house. They're sharing it with us. We will be putting that on in this community as hospices and in general to educate the community about this very soon. Let's move on. What we will provide in this home, we will be providing just like you have a home where you have family and a dog who loves you and people who come in and out. This is the kind of home that this social model hospice is. What we will be providing is a really nice home to come to, you know, where you have your own room, you can bring your own stuff, you can even, you know, have your dog come visit. You can have grandma or whoever come stay overnight on one of our couches. It's going to be home. We're not providing the medical piece of this so much. We're going to have nurses, aides as staff, and volunteers to, you know, help with the care, but the medical part of this will be provided by the outside medical agencies. The nursing agencies will come in just as they would into a home setting. Like I said, all of the nursing agency hospices are very behind this. They want to see it happen yesterday because they just don't have resources. We will be providing emotional, spiritual, and social support to our families and the residents, and it will be free of charge. Let's go on to the next one. Why give? This slide I kind of like because people say, I have very few people say, why should I give to this? Because most people it touches. But I do believe that a community is judged by how we care for our most vulnerable members, and I think all of us believe that, especially in our community. Everyone, I think this is a human right. Everyone deserves to die with peace, dignity, and love. I think it's a human right. Our committee thinks it's a human right, and we intend to provide that as our home. It will be. I wish you could all go up to Sarah House. If you're ever in Santa Barbara, just drop into Sarah House because it's lovely. The dog meets you at the door with a wagging tail. And people have cookies baking in the kitchen, and you just want to come in and have a cup of coffee and a cookie with them. The residents are welcome in the kitchen. It's their home. They can come in and eat dinner in the living room or in the kitchen area, or they can stay in their room. They are cared for and loved, and they all really love being there. What is next for us? This is about us, and I kind of told you. Basically, our committee is consisting of doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals, and community leaders at this point. We are trying to build our board. We would love to have more people that are within the business community, and if you're interested in that, I'd love to have people call in for that. We are getting donations, as I said before, from $50 to $250. That's generally what the donation checks that come into me are. These are people that write a note and say, I love what you're doing, and know that it's important. We have a website that's up and running, and I will give you that information at the end. We are hopeful to gather corporate sponsorship in this year, also political backing and endorsement in this year. We would love for you to be able to support and help us with that. We are having a fundraiser coming up on May 8th, and it will be a wonderful fundraiser at the Wood Ranch Golf Club, and it will be in conjunction with the Moore Park College architectural students. They are actually drawing plans for our future dream house, and they will be presenting their plans and their models, and we will be honoring them. And it will be a wonderful evening of music and live entertainment and a silent auction, and we would really love to have all of you come. If you have service club or a church or anywhere we can come to speak, we're very after the community awareness piece of this year, this next year. So that is my presentation. I wanted to show my contact information. It's Our Community House of Hope, Teresa Wolf, 805-377-1907, and our website is ourcommunityhouseofhope.org. And
Why don't you say that again? I'm not sure that appeared very clearly on television.
the website is ourhouseofhope.org. The phone number is 805-377-1907. Thank you so much.
Are there any questions? Comments? Well, God bless you for what you do. This is a serious need, and I'm glad you're addressing this. I know this has been a passion of yours for a couple of years now. Good luck with that. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other public comment speakers? I do not see any. So we'll move on to our guest speaker, Harry.
Thank you, Jim. Good afternoon again, and thank you for watching our broadcast. Today's broadcast features a representative from Southern California Electric Company who will talk to us about the ways needy seniors can apply for assistance in paying for their electricity use. And she will also tell us or give us tips on how to save and conserve energy. And I'd like to introduce now Maria Cecilia Surratt, who will tell us a little bit about herself before she gives us our tips. Maria?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Like Harry said, my name is Maria Surratt. I'm an account executive, Southern California Edison. And right off the top, I need to disclaim that I am not a residential energy expert. My expertise lies in small business. However, we couldn't locate a residential expert to come here today, so I volunteered to come out here because I do have a strong background in customer service, and I'm very familiar with Edison programs. So I'm very happy to be here to have this opportunity to share some of these programs with you, and especially during these tough economic times, a lot of these programs are geared to help people in need. First program is the Rate Relief Assistance Program. This is for middle to low income families, and they're eligible to receive up to $150 of aid per year to pay their Edison bill. It is community-based, it's done through agencies, and the best way to find an agency is to call the 800 number, the 205-8596, and they will locate an agency in your area that would be able to help with your bills. The next one, CARE, is a special rate that is offered by, I believe, all utilities. And basically, it gives you a 20% discount on your electric bills if you qualify. You must complete an application, and the best way to find out whether you qualify or not is either to go into our website or just to call, again, our 800 number, and they will be able to give you. It's a ratio of income per household. Now, this, it's done yearly, and once you're in the program, you just need to apply on a yearly basis. The next program is a Rate Relief Assistance Program. Oops, I'm sorry. Went in the wrong way. It's the Energy Management Assistance Program. And this, again, is for low-income households, and they will provide services as small as a light bulb or as large as an appliance, a major appliance. Next one is medical baseline. Now, medical baseline has absolutely nothing to do with income and everything to do with need. Basically, if you have any kind of medical condition or you require some kind of special equipment, Edison will give you more of the baseline allocation. And I don't know if you've ever noticed in your bill, but baseline allocation is the lowest kilowatt rate. So by increasing the usage, the amount of baseline, you will lower your bill substantially. Again, for that one, you also must apply for it, and a doctor needs to verify. The next program is something that is really great to have, and this is not just for elderly people, but for anyone who once in a while forgets to pay their bill. And you could just designate a person, a friend, family, even an agency. And what would happen is, if you are about to get disconnected, Edison would give notice to this person, so then they in turn will notify you. Extra step in the process. Now, they are not responsible at all for paying your bill, but it's just sometimes we all need I know I do, and it's a great way for you to avoid any kind of problem with disconnections. The next one is a little bit more specialized. It requires profiling, and this is for an elderly person who would live alone or is in medical condition, anything that would require a little bit more care. What would happen is you would definitely have to call us. We would profile the account, and if anything was happening as far as some kind of disconnection, or the lights were going to be turned off because they were going to be doing some kind of repairs and the circuits close by, they would take special steps to ensure that the customer was aware. If that meant us going out there and knocking on the door and talking to the customer face to face, we would definitely do that. But again, for us to be able to do this, the person must call us, and we have to profile their account. Now we come to the summer discount plan, which is really a great way to reduce your energy bill during the summer months, and this is good for everybody. I brought quite a few applications that I will leave here for anyone who's interested. This program really allows anyone to save up to $200 during the summer season, and the summer season starts the first Sunday in June to the first Sunday in October. And basically, if you enroll, what happens is they will install like a radio on the air conditioning unit. And when Edison needs to drop load, and mind you, gotta keep in mind that this would happen during very hot summer days. This happens when Edison the demand is too large and we just can't meet the demand. Instead of turning off lights, we'd rather turn off the air conditioners. Now, it doesn't really turn off the air conditioner. What it turns off is the compressor, which is what shoots out the cold air. But you continue to have the air conditioner on, and it continues to circulate the air through the home. But for a certain period of time, and the literature will tell you that it could be up to 6 hours, you might be cycled off, no cold air coming in. This is a great program. However, you need to keep into consideration that if there's somebody in the house that really can't leave the house during this kind of situation, then it might not be a good idea. People with very small children or people that can't drive, then I would definitely consider it twice. But for those that can say, hey, I can go to the mall, I can go to the movie theaters, then it's an excellent opportunity to, one, do the right thing, because that way we don't have to be building any more additional facilities, and two, we can keep the lights on throughout all of Edison's territory. Now, you have the option of selecting how much to be cycled off and how much you can save. The more that you're willing to cycle, let's say 100%, then you can reach up to $200. But you could choose to do less. You could choose to do 50%. And what that would mean is your air conditioner would be cycled off for 15 minutes, and then it would be back on for 15 minutes, and so forth and so on for the duration of the period. Also want to go a little bit over payment options, just so you're aware that there's many ways you can pay your bill. The first one, the level pay plan, this is just a budgetary tool, and so keep that in mind. This is not a discount in any way, but what happens is you need to be in the property at least 12 12 months, so then we can see a summer bill and a winter bill. And basically, the computer will prorate monthly bills for 11 months, and then on the 12th month, it's called your settlement bill. Whether if you underused, you would receive a credit, or you overused, you might owe quite a bit of money. So you need to be careful. We also have the direct pay, which is taken from the checking account without any problems. There's pay by phone. Now, for pay by phone, I believe there is a small charge. And then again, it's the pay by internet, which is using your computer. And if you have access to a computer, that definitely is the easiest way. Now we get to the energy efficiency rebates. Now, I've passed out also some literature on that, but just to hit some highlights here, there's the whole house fan, which we would give up to $50 rebate. There's the qualified air conditioning units, and those are the window units, up to $50. We also have a great program. Once you decide to get rid of your refrigerator or your freezer, we would go pick it up and give you $50, up to $50. I believe for the refrigerator is $35. I'm not sure. Anyway, once you buy the new one, again, you would also receive a rebate there as well. And there's the 800 number where you can call and get any other information. Basically, anytime you're going to purchase any major appliance, it'd be a good idea to check our website or give us a call so you would be aware of the ones that carry the rebates. And these are some of our tips. The main one is always look for Energy Star. Energy Star will be the indicator that Edison has reviewed this in our technology center and has determined that this particular brand is energy efficient. For example, a compact fluorescent light bulb will save you up to $75% less electricity. Also, we recommend your thermostats, set them during the cold, during the winter months, no higher than 60 degrees. During the summer, at 78 degrees. 78 degrees seems like, gee, that's kind of warm. But in reality, if you're sitting, reading, watching television, basic stuff, 78 will be comfortable. Not cold, but comfortable. If you're running around, cleaning house, and doing those kinds of things, then it will not be adequate. Also, consider unplugging all your consumer electronics when they're not in use. This is called, and this is a new, it's not new, but it's one of the newest things that we really are finding out that they're taking a lot of electricity. It's called phantom electricity. So your toaster, your blenders, your televisions, your phone connectors, when you're finished charging your phone, unplug. Try to unplug things that you're not utilizing. I would not recommend that you unplug your VCR, especially if it's programmed, but yeah, that could be a problem. But anything else that is not in use, definitely unplug, because otherwise it will be using some form of electricity. The dirty coals on the back of your refrigerators, we highly recommend that you clean them at least once a year. It's a big hassle, but definitely when they get dirty, the unit needs to work that much harder. And the refrigerator in your household is the biggest user of electricity, aside from probably your pool pump. And the last thing is, I'm sure you're all aware that as of February 17th of this year, the nation shifted to a digital-only television. Some of you might have had to get a digital to analog converter. Those of you that still have not or are not happy with the ones you've purchased, we recommend the Energy Star converter because it uses a lot less electricity and it will power down automatically after 4 hours. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. Just be aware that any programs, anything that you're concerned with, please call our 800 number. And even though here it says Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, basically Edison never closes. We're open 24/7. And I remember being in the phone center and getting calls at 2 o'clock in the morning from senior citizens, because that's the time they sat down to look at their bills and had questions. So by all means, feel free to call us at any time. We're happy to help you, direct you, give you phone numbers, give you tips, anything that you might need. Do you have any questions?
I'd like to thank you for your informational talk. I'd like to make one correction, and that is that the digital conversion has been changed now so that it's in June instead of February.
Oh, is that right? Thank you.
Yes, there's questions up the other end. Please ask.
Yes, I was just wondering, on your summer program, you mentioned that the meter that's put in would shut down the compressor. However, the blower would continue to blow.
Yeah, it's not a meter. It's like a little radio that they install on top of the air conditioner. At least that's what it looks like to me on mine.
Yeah, I just wondered what the difference was. My understanding was, and it may be absolutely incorrect, my understanding was that the energy used up by the blower is as strong or as costly as is the compressor. Am I just way off base?
Yes. The compressor is the one that uses the most. Yeah, the compressor is the one that uses the most energy in the air.
How much difference is there? Is there
substantial?
Really?
Substantial.
10 times, 20 times.
That means a lot?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to, I've been a user of that summer program. Our household has been a user for, maybe the last 12 years, I think, or thereabouts. And just think of all the money that we've saved, which rapidly leaves the house very quickly. But anyway, I will also tell you that Thousand Oaks, fortunately, is in a fairly decent climate area, so we don't get, it'll get hot, there'll be some warm days, but to my but not, we're not going to get, 116 and, that kind of stuff. And so we're in a good area to take advantage of this, and so you don't have to worry that, about life-threatening issues and so forth. To my knowledge, I think in the 12 years we've used it, perhaps only, maybe it has occurred 3 times, 4 times, or something like that. Now, having stated that, I'm going to ask you a question. You may not be able to answer it. If not, direct us where we can go. Where do you believe now, at this situation, at this juncture, going up towards the summer, where does the Southern California Edison stand in terms of capacity, excess capacity versus, normal? What's their override? How much extra do they have? Where are they operating at?
I really don't know the specifics. However, I've been told last year we only had to use this program 4 times. So every year, as we get stronger and stronger towards energy efficiency and going green, we've noticed that we're able to meet our demands better. So we're hoping that, and that's one of the reasons why Edison promotes this program so much.
Right.
It's exactly so we could avoid those kind of situations in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
How is that baseline number figured? And being a senior, does that count for anything?
No, it does not. To figure the baseline is basically just the climate zone. And that's all that they take into consideration, the climate zone. So people in very hot summer, like the desert, would get a higher baseline allocation than someone by the beach because they will not use as much electricity.
If I may,
that's the only component.
There's a problem with that when we're dealing with seniors. I freeze to death now. I never used to. So when somebody says, keep your house at 60 degrees, I almost can't dress warmly enough during the daytime to be comfortable. The same thing goes during the summertime. Seniors are much less resilient in the face of heat. And it would be, I think it would be a responsible thing for the corporation to take a look at it and say, you know what, one size doesn't really fit all, in particular because the proportion of seniors to the rest of the population is changing radically. And so a number of us we have a lot more of this kinds of suffering. The other thing that I'd like to bring up is the CFCs. There has been a statement that these things are hard to get rid of, but they're not really. Not anyway in Thousand Oaks. And what I do is I keep mine in a little can. I've got one in there. They don't wear out very often, and that one is going to the hazardous recycle this Saturday on my city appointment. So it really is no big deal to get rid of these. The other thing is they don't put out much light, not so you can get the hyper bright ones that make my light sensitive lenses go off when I go in the morning to shave. So they're really a good deal. They're easy to use, and they're ever so much better than they used to be.
Well, definitely. The technology has definitely moved in that field tremendously.
I thought that, the 60 degrees troubled me because at night I can understand the sleeping, cold, okay? But during the day I was under the impression that they like to stay at 68. The 60 is surprised, in other words, or in other words,
it is too cold for me too.
For example, I mean, in the evening from, let's say, 5 or 6 up until, let's say, 11 or 12, you go to bed. So it seems to me that there used to be 68 degrees, and they said, if that gets a little chilly, put on a sweater. And on the heating side, on the cooling side, the 78 is correct. So the 60 degrees...
It's 60 during the night.
60 during the night. Yeah, I think that should be clarified.
Yes,
yeah,
and 68 during the day, if you're home. If you leave the house, we recommend you put it back to 60 or 55. Yeah.
And a way to do that, and I think you have an Energy Star product, is you can program. If you're in and out of the house, you can program your thermostat in such a way that it'll just, follow your habits,
Definitely. That's one of the major components that we utilize in the business to control buildings, smart thermostats. So yes, if you have them at home, definitely put them to good use.
Another question. Mm-hmm. When you drive, you look, if you're coming into LA, at night, okay, from an airplane or whatever, see all these lights on. Okay, I know it looks nice, but has there been any discussion with the corporate community about either banking them or doing something else? That's a lot of energy.
That's a good question. Well, remember that we do not service Los Angeles itself, but the surrounding community. And yes, we're always in constant dialogue with our businesses regarding that aspect. We definitely, not only energy efficiency, but conservation is a major component of our programs. So yes, most of those large businesses that keep some of the lights on, they have account executives that are assigned just to them, and they are working diligently trying to educate them towards more conservation. That's an ongoing program for us.
Thank you. You mentioned that these compact fluorescent light bulbs are 75% more efficient, and I assume that's more efficient than incandescent bulbs.
Incandescent, that is correct.
Is there also an efficiency advantage related to these 4-foot-long bulbs, such as in this room?
Absolutely. It's the same. Like right now, you have our very, very good energy efficient lighting. Those they're called T8s, and T stands for tubular, 8, it's according to the size, and that is one of the best technology that we have for energy efficiency.
So my question was, are the CFLs more efficient than the T8s?
Well, it depends on what the usage is and where you have them. At home, most of the time you don't have this kind of lighting. You have compact fluorescent because you have lamps or you have recessed. So at least most homes do not have this type of fixtures. So this is mainly seen in businesses. But in businesses, you also have recess, and again, we encourage the compact fluorescent there. Which one is more efficient? It just depends on the wattage that you utilize, and it depends on your need.
I have a
40-watt regular. These is a 34-watt or 32-watt in the T8. So.
That's correct.
I have
32.
I have a problem trying to find a CFC that's bright enough to use in a lamp. Most of the time they say 75 or 100 watts, and they're dimmer than 60-watt electric bulb.
I think you want to get the pure white one. It will save.
I tried.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Usually, what you need to look at is the illumination, and like a 60-watt incandescent. If you wanted to convert it to compact fluorescent technology, you would go with 11 watts. That should be the same illumination, or better.
Okay.
Don't try to replace a compact fluorescent with incandescent with you have a dimmer on it, because it won't work.
No, it does not.
Done that.
Yeah, those are, you could purchase some. They do have some.
But you need a special dimmer. Anyway, are there any other questions?
No, I don't have any question either, but I'd like to turn the meeting back to you, because our second speaker had to cancel out because he was he was ill, and we will reschedule him sometime in the future. Okay, Jim, back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Maria. Appreciate your information. It was a wonderful report.
You're welcome.
I'll say we move on to our committee reports, and our first committee report would be on health. Do we have a health? We don't have Susan Poprock with us. Is there any conversation about hospice? I don't see anything, so let's move on. All right, housing.
Yes, I'd like to share some statistics about housing courtesy of the City of Thousand Oaks website. On the city website, you can find out about almost everything that's going on in the city. I visited the website last night to download the latest information on housing projects making their way through the Planning Commission. The Commission documents show that there are 955 dwelling units currently proposed in the planning process and currently under construction. There are 260 total units for low-income families, including seniors. There are 7 more units being constructed as part of an effort to build a development of 36 units. Of the 280 units to be built, 60 each are to be built by Many Mansions and Area Housing Authority. The City of Thousand Oaks will be contracting out for the 160-unit project. There are 87 apartment units in the proposal phase before the Planning Commission and 118 now under construction. There is no indication at this time if any of the apartments will be available for low-income members or seniors. I will be following it each month to bring you the latest information on housing. Thank you.
I have one little thing about housing that was in the Acorn about 10 days ago, and it is about affordable housing units. And this may be long since, because this is almost 2 weeks old, but the article read, despite long waiting lists for some programs, affordable housing is still available to rent without going on a list. Now, this is the Area Housing Authority owns and manages about 500 units across the county. But this is not public housing, and no subsidies are provided with Section 8, but rents are typically much lower than market rates, said Doug. This is from Doug Tapping, Executive Director of the AHA. Affordable housing doesn't mean run down, according to Doug. Our properties are well maintained and indistinguishable from adjacent market rate properties. They're nice places to live. So, according to the AHA, vacancies are available in family and senior units in Thousand Oaks. Units are available also in Mar Vista Village and Camarillo. Income restrictions apply to most of these units, and they're rented on a first-come, first-served basis. So for information on vacancies of family units in Thousand Oaks, call 805-492-8350. And vacancies in senior apartments, call 805-494-3120. That's all I have on that.
Jim, can I get a clarification? You said, I think I saw that article also, and but these do not include the Section 8 subsidy.
No, it does not.
How does this relate? Do you have an idea how the article relates to the waiting list? Because
It has absolutely nothing to do with the waiting list. Those are two separate things. From what I was confused about that initially, but these are just units that are available to basically anyone who wishes to participate if they're income eligible. So, but you don't, I personally didn't understand why people on the waiting list weren't given these, but those are two separate lists.
Thanks.
All right, any other thing on housing? All right, let's move into public programs. Got anything on us this, Harry?
No, not this time. I have something on senior services. All right. Okay, let me turn the mic on. The Senior Services Directory is now in the process of being updated. Inclusion in the Senior Services Directory is limited to bona fide agencies that provide a specific senior service and nonprofit agencies that will work with any and all seniors regardless of income levels. Entries on the website will be accepted electronically on the city website at www.toaks.org. Type Senior Services Directory in the search bar to find the entry information page. The deadline for submitting updates for new entries to the directory is April 30th of this year. The 2009 edition is expected to be available in June of this year. This year, we are also accepting advertising for the directory. For advertising rates and ad placements, please contact Francine Spriegel at City Hall. Her telephone number is 805-449-2743. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Teresa, are you in our directory? Well, you should be. All right, let's move on to legislation.
Okay. I hope it's news to no one that our legislature has recently passed a portion of the state budget, and the remaining portion is going to be submitted to the voters in a special election on May 19th. There are items on this that are of interest to seniors, and our goal is to discuss these at our May meeting and have as an impartial a speaker as we can find come in and help us understand what they're all about and which ones are senior related. Thank you.
We would also want to make sure that members of our audience might want to come actually to the meeting itself that in May to ask questions about these particular pieces of legislation, because they're going to affect us all. We as the council take no position on any of these, but we encourage conversations surrounding the issues. So please plan to attend on the first Wednesday of May. What is the month? What is the date of that? I don't know. The first Wednesday of May, and we will have some information on these very, very important pieces of legislation. May 6th. So you're invited to come down to the boardroom and participate in that discussion. Let's move on to fraud. Marty?
Well, as you all know, the number of foreclosures keeps on going up, and the people who are facing foreclosures, not yet foreclosed, keeps increasing. And many people are advertising now on radio and television offering to help you with that problem. And I can't tell you which companies or persons are legitimate and which ones aren't, but I'll tell you to watch out for one thing. If they ask for your money up front to help you with this problem, run away. There is plenty of free available help from lenders and government organizations. And let me tell you how you can get that help. The U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department, HUD, can provide you with a lot of assistance. If you go to their website, which is www.hud.gov/foreclosure, you'll find more information on foreclosure than you will ever need. And you will also have access to their listing of approved counselors that will not charge you for their services. If you don't have internet access, call 800-569-4287. There are counselors available both in Los Angeles County and in, closest to us, I believe, would be up in Camarillo. Another source to help you without any charge is the Homeownership Preservation Foundation, and their phone number is 888-995-HOPE, H-O-P-E. Thanks.
All right. Let's move on to Senior of the Year.
Yes. We're currently taking nominations for the Senior of the Year. This is a big event here in Thousand Oaks, sponsored by the Council on Aging. If you have nominees who are any person over the age of 60 who has made substantial contributions to our community, please don't hesitate to nominate that individual. You can receive an application online at www.thousandoaks.org, or you can call 449-2743. That's Francine Spriegel, and she will send you an application. The application period closes on April the 20th, and we'll be conducting interviews on April the 23rd. And I would urge you to set aside the evening of June the 4th, when we will be announcing the winner of the Senior of the Year in Thousand Oaks. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. For those of you who have never attended one of those Senior of the Year events, they really are one of the big deals we have in the community. We have a great time, we have entertainment, and we have the mayor and the city council members usually show up and get citations from the county board of supervisors and from the governor, and it's just a big good time that we have at the Goebel Center. So keep that in mind. Get involved with that. Mel, could you talk us a little bit about your adult master plan?
Thank you, Jim. Well, the community is anxiously awaiting the Senior Adult Master Plan. They have been involved in help providing information to us, so to inform us with as much information as they have over the many months, and all of the information and the work from our advisory committee, all of this is now starting to converge, and we're hoping to bring all this together in what we would call a very smooth landing, without much crunching. So I must say that we've had tremendous support. The people here, the commissioners on the Council on Aging, have been tremendously supportive and have been working very hard in many different areas. We've actually split the job up on the council into two parts. One, there was a writing team, and two, there was a quality assurance team. I would say this, that from my experience, this will have, when we're all done, and then I must say there's also a consultant review team out at Cal Lutheran University, and I would say that this is probably maybe one of the most reviewed, scrutinized public reports in the public domain in this type of a venture, And I believe that when we're all done, that not only will we be providing information to the city and to the city council, but we will be able to come up with a document that will in effect advocate for the seniors and the senior needs here as far as we have understood them. The work will continue to go on after that, after the council approves it. Right now, our target to get to the city council is the 23rd of June. And in between there's some review internally in the city, etc. So there's been a lot of effort, combined effort by a lot of groups, and we'll be. I think we're all excited about what the product that will come out, and when it's done, probably no one will be happier than myself. So it's been a challenge. I've been into a lot of challenging things in my career, and this I think ranks pretty high. So thank you very much.
As everybody knows, they've been listening to this program. We've been on this for over a year, and it's quite a challenge. Disaster and emergency preparedness. Leonard?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. The Ventura County Sheriff's Department recently completed training at Leisure Village in Camarillo. And amongst other things they said, they trained on an emergency supply kit, and we've already talked about that here, making an emergency plan, and we've talked about that, and being informed about local hazards in our communities. And we've talked about that, but in sort of an interesting way, and I want to bring to your attention again this business. It will look like that on one side and like that on the other side, or you may get it in the mail. It looks like this. Of course, it's a full sheet. And what it is the signing up for the TO City Alert. This is really, really, really important for us to do, mainly because not only will it keep us informed, but it can keep our loved ones all over the United States, I suppose, arguably all over the world, informed about us. I had promised to get you a phone number, and I have it, and it's right here on the sheet that comes out quarterly. It is 805-449-2499, extension 436. That phone number is for use by people who, for one reason or another, can't sign up online. I have two other quick items for us. Grandmas, grandpas, nannies, and papas, all of you out there who at one time or another give care to your grandchildren, none of us, including me, would willingly leave anything under the sink or within reach of a child that could poison them. And we have in our midst something that's very, very important that we need to guard and protect, and that is the computer. If you get a visit from your grandkids, I urge you to put the computer in a place that it can be supervised. The family computer in my house is in the kitchen. The kitchen, when there's anybody in the house, always has somebody in it on a random basis, which is perfect for supervising this. The reason why I bring it up to you is the city of Thousand Oaks recently had suffered a crime in which a young teenager made online relationship with a stranger on the East Coast who was making plans to visit her. We can't allow that to happen. That's why the computer needs to be supervised. The second point that I need to talk about safety is, and this goes with the fraud, if you don't know the person, don't deal with them. If you don't know who comes to your door, don't deal with him or her, not under any circumstance, not under any emergency. If an emergency phone call needs to be made, you can make it from inside your house This is the best thing that you can do to keep yourself and all of your neighbors safe. If you have some sort of a suspicion about somebody wandering the neighborhood selling something, then call TO City Watch or call 911. Do not, under any circumstances, have anything to do with these people. We've had a couple of recent incidents where folks have gotten in trouble for by doing that, and it's dangerous. The other thing is, those of us who are still driving need to remember to keep our valuables in our automobiles out of sight. Best to keep the automobile locked. Believe it or not, more cars are stolen unlocked than are stolen locked and a lot of cars with the keys still in them. So, hey, I just got to go in for a minute to CVS or Ralph's or someplace like that, and so we leave all of our shopping on the front seat. We come back, the car's been unlocked, and it's all gone. Stay safe out there.
Thank you, Leonard. We'll turn the program over to Mel Silverberg now for our liaison reports.
Thank you. Before I give the liaison report, I have to give I'd like to do an amendment to my report on the senior master plan, and it's very clear to the folks sitting here at the table that there is no way that this report could ever have gotten done without the stamina and the support and the lack of sleep by our city liaison, Francine Spriggle. I can't even, I'm speechless at this point, okay, telling you about all the things that she's done and with all the other things. So it's very clear that without this support, we couldn't do this kind of thing, because we're just a bunch of volunteers up here. We every so often we need professional help. So anyway, thank you, Francine, and sometime in the future you won't have to worry about my phone calls.
Is this a suicide pact here?
Approaching that. Okay, we're getting into our liaison reports. The first report on the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging, which we are a member. The agency is required by the state of California to produce every 5 years a master plan, an area master plan, to talk about goals, objectives, priorities, and what the county does for seniors. And the good news about the county is it does receive funding under federal and state grants, and many of them are matched, et cetera, et cetera. And so a large part of our needy and frail and elderly at risk are served very well by programs at the Area Agency on Aging. So this year they decided, the agency decided that it would, instead of just listing, things we do and goals and objectives, they had decided that they were going to go to the next step and do a strategic plan, which in fact they have done. The plan will be available at the agency on their website and so forth. But I have a phone number. I will tell you, if you want to get involved, and this could be the public, seniors, service providers, and others who have a stake in seniors or the senior community, then on April 21st at 10 a.m. there will be a public hearing on this strategic plan, where we, the Area Agency on Aging, will then receive your comments, and with these comments make revisions if necessary and so forth. But Ventura County is really leaps and bounds, and by leaps and bounds ahead of most of the counties in the state of California, and so the Council on Aging is proud to be part of that. They, in fact, are one of our partners, and we can't work without our partners. So, if you want to get details on instructions and so forth, you call 805-477-7300, and you'll get whatever instructions and address and so forth. If you also go online to www.Ventura County and then look for Area Agency on Aging, VenturaCounty.org, then you'll get further. Jim?
Another really exciting event that's coming up that is part of the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging is their April 18th Catch the Wave free seminar at the Reagan Library. This is really going to be something of an amazing event. There'll be over 30 exhibitors, experts in the field of aging well and financial planning, retirement planning. There'll be free seminars on health insurance, long-term care insurance, job changes, lifestyle changes, healthy living, retirement planning, and all of this is completely and totally free. It's from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock on a Saturday, which is April the 18th, and again, the Reagan Library, a very spiffy agenda. Reservations are required, but the phone number for that is area code 805-477-7300. Again, reservations are required, but the event is completely free. And while you're there roaming around, you'll get to go through the rest of the Reagan Library. It's going to be held very close to the Air Force One venue. So that's a very exciting event. We expect to have a great many turnouts for people from the ages of 40 to 60. Certainly seniors are also invited, but the idea is for the people that are thinking about midlife, is this a crisis or is this an opportunity? A good time to find out. So I invite all of you to call that number, once again, 805-477-7300, April the 18th, from 9 to 1, Reagan Library. Okay?
Thank you, Jim. Now I would like to hear from another one of our very important partners, and from the Global Senior Center, Andrea Koval. What's happening at the center? Pardon me? RSVP first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let's do RSVP.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, because RSVP is looking for volunteers for a brand new program. There are many people, elderly in our city, who just can't get out of their home. They're what we call homebound. And they don't have any relatives or friends nearby that can periodically call on them to see how they're doing. So what RSVP would like to do is to get a team of volunteers together who could make a phone call to a person and check up on them, like once every day. It only takes a few minutes to just talk to them, find out how they're doing, ask if they need any help, and maybe we could get them some kind of help. There will be training provided for the volunteers, and as I said, it will not take up too much of your time. If this would appeal to you, we'd appreciate it if you would call our RSVP office, which is at 381-2742. And I guess for the last time this year, I can remind you about the income tax preparation assistance. April 10th is the last day they will be doing this, so do not wait for the 15th. They won't be there. It's held from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. on Wednesdays at the Newbury Park Library, and on Thursdays and Fridays at the Global Senior Adult Center. No appointments are necessary, or no appointments are actually taken. It's first come, first served.
Thank you very much, Marty. Sorry for the oversight. And now we will hear from Andrea Koval. And is there anything exciting happening down at the center?
No, not at all. April Fools. Haha, April Fools. No, there's plenty of stuff going on. I'll just piggyback Commissioner Martin there. Yes, income tax. 9 to 3:30, Thursdays and Fridays at Global Senior Adult Center, and Wednesdays at Newbury Park Library. And besides it being for seniors, typically 60 and older, anybody with an income of $40,000 or less can come and get their taxes done for free. I do prefer that you are there at least by 3, even though the program goes till 3:30, because if the longer you wait to come in to get your taxes done, the longer of a wait there might be during the day, and they might not finish you up. So I would suggest at least being there by 3, so we make sure that you are served. Another fun thing I want to bring up is a lot of people out there have it, a lot of people don't, a lot of people see it on the TV. The center does have a Wii system. We have several days in which we'll teach you how to do it. All you need to do is show up, and pretty much anytime you can come play as well. And at this point in time, we do have tennis and golf and bowling and boxing. I'm trying to think, there's one other one. There's 5. They're all fun. They're very easy to do, but at the same time, if you're at it long enough, it is a good workout. We are looking into getting the system in which we will work on balance. So I know there's one of those exercise ones out there that deals with balance, which is very important. So we're looking into getting that. So if you're interested in learning Wii or coming to play, definitely give us a call, and I'll give a phone number for the center at the end so you can grab your pencil and be ready towards the end. So do that. Coming up this Friday, April 3rd, we are having a program called Life After Brain Injury, and it'll be presented by Sherry Phoenix, and it talks about participants achieving their goals, items for independence, and more. And again, that one you can just call in for seating reservations, so we make sure we have enough seats for everybody. And the California CSUCI is doing their Professors and Pastries, which we've been doing the first and third Wednesdays of every month. It's always a different talk, different professor, and always different pastries too. So tonight is one, and the learning topic is Bangs and Whimpers, Poetry of the 20th Century by Bruce Collins. And then on April 15th is Cultural Conversations, From Conflict to Collaboration. Again, just call in, make sure we've got enough seating for that, because we do like to keep that one classroom size so there's enough room for discussion and learning. April 25th, Youth Stamp Day. Our local stamp club does a Youth Stamp Day, and it's at the Global Senior Adult Center. And it's actually a very, very fun day because all the youth can come in. They get starter kits, they get information, there's prizes, and everything is free. So it is quite interesting. And lately we've had a lot of people bring in stamp collections of stamps from family members. So if you're end up with a family member that is no longer with you, heaven forbid, or somebody who's not interested in doing their stamps anymore, we do accept really neat stamp collections, and it'll go to them, and they use them, archive them, and also certain ones they use for Youth Stamp Days every year. And we are also having a fishing trip. It's called our Out and About series. So this is one in which we do not drive you there. You can carpool or drive yourself. But we do a fun fishing trip a couple times a year. And that one will be Wednesday, April 29th from 8 to 4. And it's with the Pacific Islander. We'll leave the docks at 8 a.m. out of Channel Islands. And cost is $51 per person. And we'll be doing sign-ups and registration at the front desk. And we did our teen versus senior billiards tournament, and the fun thing about that is there was a tie. So that was a first in history. So in the next week or so, we'll be finishing that off one-on-one. So that will be interesting. The dates kind of moved around a little bit due to people's schedules and whatnot, so I don't have an exact date. So if you're interested in knowing when that is, you'll need to call the center. And I'm also going to piggyback with some information that Commissioner Jim Seardon was talking about. He was talking about Catch the Wave. We're doing our Generation Celebration, which is something very similar at the Global Senior Adult Center, and that'll be May 16th. And we will have probably quite a few of the similar things there as far as information booths and free seminars. So you can learn about all the different things that may be coming up within your life and be armed or get information for a loved one or a neighbor. But we're also doing technology. So we're adding technology to our event this year. And we will be having some really cool people come through and be sitting there. We've got the Thousand Oaks Computer Club. We might have Best Buy. We've got some people that are real techie people. And besides about learning about some new technology and things that you can use, for those of us who sometimes our cell phones get muted and they don't even buzz, they don't make noise or anything, and you've forgotten how to give back so you can hear it ring, or you've now started getting voicemail or text messages from people and now you can't figure out how to text them. Somebody showed you once and you're like, oh my gosh. Anyway, you can bring those fun items in. So like your digital camera, you forget how to get it back on flash or whatnot. You'll be able to bring those in and go over a few of those easy things that we seem to forget over time when we don't use them that often. So that's a really neat thing that we'll be having. And some of our seminars are definitely going to focus on the technology and the gadgets that keep you in your home, things that are out there to help any and all of us as we do grow older, or just to make life easier at home. So there's going to be quite a lot of fun things. This year we are not making our own lunch and selling lunch tickets. We actually have the Space Shuttle Cafe coming. So they will be a vendor outside. It looks like a space shuttle. It's made out of a DC-10. It's really quite interesting, and they'll be providing snacks and drinks and lunch and whatnot. So it's going to be quite a fun day. So that's kind of piggybacks similar thing. Also coming up on April 25th in the morning from 9:30 to 11, we're going to have the Great American Songwriters, and that's with presenting like George and Ira Gershwin music, and you'll actually get to hear the music. Some of it you'll get to sing to, laugh and reminisce. It'll be by Saul Jacobs, and then he's got two other people that are vocalists and musicians. And it's free, but you do need to call for a seating reservation. And again, that's Saturday, April 25th from 9:30 to 11. And so those are the fun things coming up. And trips, I promise. Last thing, trips. We've got Chocolate Covered LA, so you'll get to go downtown LA and go to all sorts of different places, see how they make chocolate, probably get some good samples of chocolate, and get to see areas that you normally don't see. And lunch is included, and at the Renaissance Restaurant. So your $91 will include your motor coach, your tour, your lunch, and your driver's tip. Then we also have coming up on sale Architectural Pasadena. So you'll be visiting the architecture of the Bungalow Heaven Historic District, Pasadena City Hall, and Oak Knoll neighborhoods. And it's going to also indulge you in some Mediterranean cuisine at the Eden Bar and Grill in Old Town Pasadena. And for all that'll be $72. So those are the new trips that are coming up, and those will go on sale next Friday, April 10th, starting at 9 a.m. Also, for Senior of the Year or anything about the city, about the disaster alert, the one-call thing, we also have all those forms at the Global Senior Adult Center. So besides having to come to the city or call, you can stop by Global Senior Adult Center and pick those things up. And our number for anything and any information is 381-2744. And those who do like to get on the internet, you can always do a generic email to us, and all staff receives it, and that is gsac.org. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Andrea.
Okay.
We've come to our commissioner concerns and special event announcements. Does anyone have well, we have a whole host of them. Let's start down here, Harry.
Yes, I'd like to announce that there's the 2009 Women's Health Fair, which is sponsored by the Caneo Free Clinic, which will be held on Saturday, April 18th at the Kaiser Permanente installation at 365 Hillcrest Drive. They will be screening women for breast cancer, breast examination, mammograms on site or off, pap smears, and HIV, blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, thyroid disorders, anemia, and other health measures. So if you're interested, please make a reservation by calling 805-379-1918. And that is Teresa Seeley at the Caneo Free Clinic. Thank you.
Do you have to be a Kaiser person?
No, this is open to anybody in the community.
Dave?
Thank you, Jim. Wanted to bring something to the attention of the seniors, particularly because we're involved in the transportation or transit systems here in the Caneo Valley. Recently, the City Council solidified the agreement with MV Transit for the next couple of years, and they're going to be in charge of Dial-A-Ride as well as the fixed transport system. They've been involved for several years, but this year they have a contract that now requires them to meet 14 provisions aimed at improving the service by bolstering, as they say, convenience, productivity, and outreach. They're going to have a service ambassador at the transit center who will be able to answer live and in person questions and inquiries as to the services that are being offered by Dial-A-Ride, because I know that's very specific to the seniors. I didn't realize that, but there were over 70,000 Dial-A-Ride trips provided by MV last year, which I didn't realize is that big an organization or big a usage. And the company is under certain incentives to ensure that they do meet these 14 provisions. I know in some of the interactions I've had with folks, there's been a lot of complaints about Dial-A-Ride. Well, now they actually have, as I said, an incentive, and there's a service ambassador. So please voice your concerns, voice your problems, either directly to the MV folks at the transit center, or let me invoke the name again, Francine, our den mother, as far as any questions about getting a hold of them. Thank you, Jim.
Andrea?
I just wanted to add on to that. Dial-A-Ride, it is heavily used, and yes, a lot of people do complain. However, I want to reach out for any of those that are going to be new riders. Please make it incumbent that you understand the system and how it works. One of the main things is a lot of people do not make a reservation. So if you get up in the morning and you're ready by 8 or 8:30 and you just decide out of the blue you want to go to the mall and be there by 10, probably will not happen. Might be closer to 11. And the reason for that is it is demand response. So the more calls, the more response, the more demand, the higher the usage during high peak times. So as long as you keep that in mind and know that you're going to wait a good hour and a half before you're ever picked up to make it to the mall, you'll be okay. But at that same point in time, if you still decide to want to wait that hour and a half, estimate how long you want to be there and when you want to be picked up, because you can make that reservation pickup right then and there on the phone, which will save you from calling at 3 when you decide you're tired and you're going to wait till 4:30 to get a ride home. So the more you know how to use the system, the better off. So if you have standard appointments or places you like to go, you can make a standing reservation, so that will happen more in a timely manner for you. Also, they say 15 minutes before your pickup time to 15 minutes after your pickup time is considered on time. So those are just a couple things. I'm sure there's a lot more, but quite a few people still do not make their reservation, and reservation people come first versus the person who just called in. So those are some things you might want to take into consideration. And So those users that aren't making reservations, do it, and those that will be starting Dial-A-Ride. It is a pretty darn good system, but again, it is demand response. So just keep that in mind.
Gene?
Yes, we've been encouraged in the past to make personal announcements, special announcements. This is primarily for my wife and children, but we have a cat whose name is Harry, and I was required to take him to the vet this morning because he has not felt well. And the vet informs me that Harry is a girl. And we are expecting. So I've suggested that we call him Harriet. And that's my April Fool offering.
Yep, Mel.
Yeah, I have another personal announcement. I would like to announce that this month, on April 28th, my lovely, devoted wife, Norma, will have her birthday, celebrate a birthday. So we're looking forward to that. And if you're watching out there, Norma, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Norma. Any other announcements? I have a couple. One thing I wanted to announce is that for those interested in perhaps in applying for the Council on Aging, there are 4 scheduled vacancies that are going to be for the term that starts in June through 2011. Anyone interested in applying to the Council on Aging, you must fill out an application, and that application is available at 805-449-2151. That's from Linda Lawrence, who is the city clerk. And you can. Do you have applications at Goebbels also for this or not?
At this point in time today, no, but we will.
Could?
But we
okay.
But we will.
All right, we'll try to we'll make sure we get some applications at the Goebbels Center as well, and they will also be available online. The only requirements here is that you be a resident of the city and at least 60 years old. So, and the deadline for applications is May 1st. So I encourage anyone interested in getting involved to do so. And I had one other announcement. Yes. The 16th annual Love Run, which is a 5K or 10K event, is going to be held again, sponsored by Senior Concerns in conjunction with Jersey's Mike Subs. Anyway, this whole Love Run, Love Walk thing is a major fundraiser for Senior Concerns, and those of you who are runners or walkers are encouraged to generate teams and get people to sign up to pay you a couple of bucks per K or whatever you got. The information on where to go to do this, you can register online at www.seniorconcerns.org. And I'd just like to take a couple of seconds to read something about the Senior Concerns story and what this Love Run actually addresses. In 1975, grassroots support in the Conejo Valley coalesced around a new organization calling itself Conejo Valley Senior Concerns. They dedicated themselves to serving frail and special needs seniors and their families. The first actual challenge to be tackled was feeding what they called the invisible elderly, those who were homebound. And the population suffers from a great deal of isolation and loneliness. They don't see anybody else. So the Meals on Wheels program was adopted by Senior Concerns to ensure that these frail elderly needs were met, both nutritionally and socially. The daily interaction with the volunteer driver in this program may be the only consistent contact a senior may have during the course of a day. Today, the program is stronger than ever, thanks to the continued support and the fundraising that they've done. They're serving approximately 160 meals a day, over 50,000 meals a year, The Meals on Wheels team consists of volunteers who devote their time to delivering and/or preparing meals. So your support of Senior Concerns in the Meals on Wheels program will enable them to continue to provide nutritious meals and social interaction for Senior Concerns. So anyone interested in having the slightest amount of energy, please sign up, get you a team together, and you can find out all that information again on www.seniorconcerns.org. Anybody have a phone number for them that they could give me real quick? Because I don't. Yeah.
Senior Concerns.
Senior Concerns.
497-0159.
There you go, 497-0159. Those are all of the announcements or special events that I'm aware of. Anybody else have anything? I do suggest that the Council on Aging develop a team. We can all walk 5K, I think. Or if we can't, what the heck? We stop at 3 and have a beer, you know? So, if there's no other business before this council, I declare this meeting adjourned.